Hello, I'm Julie Shafiqi, CMO at Cryon, and I'm happy to have on my panel today Karen Ching, EMEA FSI Industry Specialist and Program Manager at AWS, Vitaly Rybalkin, Director of Process Automation and Robotization Center at the JSC Renaissance Insurance Group, and Daniel Peled, Senior Vice President, Sales and Channels at Cryon. Welcome to everyone. So I'm going to start off with Karen today. So Karen, we've seen a wide adoption of cloud over the past few years across many industries, including BFSI. The pandemic has accelerated this trend even further. In your opinion, what's been the impact on end customers' business, and where are they now in their cloud journey?
So in the wake of COVID-19, it's clear more than ever that technology has become a very significant enabler to help FSI cope with the demands of serving their customers, to better personal interactions, decrease time to market, make high velocity decisions in real time, innovate at speed. Agility is a buzzword these days. Everyone wants to be a tech company at this point. However, there are different levels of maturity in the cloud. And the most important thing is to know the business drivers which accelerates that journey. In AWS, we always start with the customers and work backwards with them to better understand this journey. And as we are seeing, there's a trend, to deliver data better, right? To enhance customer experience, to improve analytics, which provide real-time insights and enable shorter time to market and innovate, right? The high velocity that you're speaking about. And for our mature customers, the ask now is how to drive that further and think big 2.0. What think big 2.0 means, I don't really know. They might know it, right? So we really need to align with their strategy and help them execute as they are in the forefront of the journey, is really understanding those drivers and how the cloud technology enabled the transformation and drive that culture of change. So this is where we see a lot of avenues to make their business more efficient and effective today.
So now on to you, Vitaly. What about at Renaissance Insurance? How did the priorities of your business change in the light of the turbulent market conditions? And where is your company in terms of digital transformation?
Thank you for the question. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, our company, like many others, found itself in a situation where it became necessary to continue developing business in a new world with a digital economy, where all people hold conferences online, shop online, give online interviews, etc. And companies that are not adapted to this or didn't prepare for it will quickly disappear. The whole world and all services will be digital very soon. And of course, we are now living in a situation that the modern society is not used to, which is a huge challenge to most people. But I think that every difficult situation is not only a challenge, but also new opportunities. I must say that we were well prepared for these sudden changes, and thanks to the team and the timely introduction of technologies, we were able to quickly switch to a new format of interaction in both the B2B and B2C segments. And over the past year, we have seen a large increase in sales in online channels. And this is happening not only because we were able to ensure the quick setup and operation of these channels, but also because most consumers also went online. Everything that is offline quickly became useless to everyone, both consumers and investors. And I'm glad that we are successfully coping with this challenge and can honestly say that we provide high quality service to the end user.
Excellent. That's really, really good to hear. I'm going to ask Daniel now. So Cryon's launched full cycle automation as a service powered by AWS about a year ago. And in your opinion, is the automation industry ready to adopt cloud, Daniel? What's the response that you're hearing from the field regarding the value of cloud in the automation?
So the response is actually fantastic. I mean, we're getting very good vibes. And I'll refer it like somewhat like the theme of the event. It's like an expedition, right? You start with caution. So in the beginning, our teams were a bit hesitant. We didn't know how to approach the clients necessarily. But as we got our first client up and onboarding, everybody gained confidence. And as an expedition, as you go through it, you gain more and more confidence, and it became a really integral part of our theme and integral part of how the clients see it. And I think today, everything we do is related to full cycle as a service, and the response is just fantastic. As I started with that, I'll give an example. One of our first clients was an FSI company in Singapore, and what we enable them with full cycle as a service is the ability to start from day one automating. Right? They didn't have to put any infrastructure. They didn't have to do any provisioning. They didn't have to do anything. We just, put it on the cloud, connect it to their systems, and they could start developing. It gave them a head start of materializing value and getting to ROI. So the simplicity of enabling everything was by far greater than anything else. And obviously it allows them to scale because now they're developing more and more and getting just more value of what the platform they're using from Pine.
Excellent. So Karen, from your experience working with customers in the BFSI industry, what is the role of cloud in their automation endeavors?
I think it's a good question. I see the role of the cloud as an enabler in building modern digital business transformation or digital business from these 5 pillars. The first one is customer obsessed, right? As I have mentioned earlier in AWS, the customer is at the center of everything that we do. We need to understand on how we can serve them better and really understand their needs, because this is also a change process for them. The way we interact with them virtually right now, and the way the demand on how analytics can help provide insights from the customer and work backwards from there. The second one is what we call organized for value. By understanding how technology is not always the solution, however, it should be positioned as an enabler to build for the better, right? It's not always you need to be prescriptive on technology to be able to do it to get the value out of your organization, but also understand how it can be effective and efficient from them, right? By building, process for efficiency, which form parts the tenets of operational excellence. The third one is the test and learn culture. I think this is where innovation should come from, right? The propensity to fail should be there, but not being stopped by failure, but also be motivated by it, right? So how can you do that in providing better service to your customers? The last but not the least is technology at the core, right? We have so many customers in FSI right now who are on legacy platforms, right? There's a certain attachment to it. However, where we see is to really understand at the age we are in right now, how do you modernize that? And modernizing it is not a big bang approach. It starts with a lot of steps and a lot of understanding. And by understanding those various approaches in replacing your core or building a digital platform altogether, it's both strategic and critical for business leaders. Last but not the least that I would say is the strategic use of data. We believe that data has gravity, right? You need to understand data not to be only used to manage risk, but data as a competitive asset. By unifying both of your data lakes and purpose-built data stores, it can help you innovate by reinventing new experiences and reimagining old processes altogether, like machine learning, artificial intelligence, because cloud can deliver this at scale. So this is how we see where FSIs can really build upon their transformation in the cloud.
And Vitaly, I'm going to turn it over to you now. Tell us about your automation program and what prompted you essentially to embark on the journey as well.
I will start with the answer to the second question. Eventually, every company inevitably faces to the issue of automation and robotization of routine business processes. And the problem becomes more acute if there are many business units with different tasks and processes, and IT resources are limited. We realize that we are unlikely to support a growing business with standard solutions. we needed either a serious multiple increase in back office resources or the introduction of new approaches such as RPA. Our strategy for the development of the automation and robotization program implies a full cycle of process automation, from searching and documenting processes to writing ready-made robots and managing them with the orchestrator. It should be noted that our company uses a fairly large number of different IT systems in its work, and classical automation or synchronization between them can be costly. In such cases, robots come to our aid, since they can process, download, or transfer the necessary data, regardless of the degree of advancement or complexity of the system.
Very interesting, certainly, from all of those perspectives. I'm going to turn back to Daniel now. So Cryon has many customers in the BFSI sector, in fact, one of our strongest sectors for sure. Can you maybe share a few examples of how they've leveraged process discovery and automation to achieve the digital transformation goals?
Well, first of all, you just heard one, right, from Vitaly at Renaissance. But further to that, I'll give two examples, actually. Two of our customers who are getting awards for their implementations at the event. One of them is a top 5 global bank, one of the largest banks in the world. And they started using process discovery about a year ago. And obviously they were hesitant. Again, they have a large automation program already, like most large banks, and they couldn't scale it. They couldn't understand where to focus next and which processes they want to focus on to take to automation and which should not be automated. So they started working with process discovery with rather limited instance of it, and they grew it over time. And now the way they understand it, and this is where we're taking them right now, is within their commercial business, they want to have every employee have an instance of process discovery. Not just to learn what processes they're doing, but also to understand productivity, to understand analytics, to understand behavior, and really understand the productivity of the organization and taking it to the next level through that. So it's not just taking automation there, it's looking at a much bigger picture. It's where this bank is taking it. And this is obviously a very large program. Another one, very exciting one, is insurance BPO, which we work with a lot. They're serving a lot of BPO insurance companies, and their business is growing tenfold. They're really expanding very, very quickly. Their knowledge and adoption of automation is so big that every new process that they come into from the client, they are now evaluating it against automation, against should we automate the process or should we hire people? And it's not because they don't want to hire people, but hiring takes time. It's very challenging these days. And if they can automate it faster than the hiring, it gives them a boost to their business. They can do a lot more, a lot faster. And this is the way they're envisioning it, and this is how they're growing. So they're really deploying a lot more automation, especially into the new business they're acquiring right now.
Very exciting. So back to you, Karen. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the workplace of the future and the role of cloud in the future as we go toward it. So its impact goes way beyond efficiencies and cost cutting. And I'd like to kind of hear your opinion on that.
I agree with that, right? So in AWS this year, we have set a very ambitious goal to really train our customers' organization at all levels with regards to upskilling and understanding what automation in the cloud means for them, right? This has set a precedence that no matter how much automation you will have, you will need to take in consideration how you organize yourself or that organizational structure and how it will evolve moving forward with all the changes and transformation that you have been doing. And how skills, the most important thing is how skills can be enhanced and be able to innovate at scale. Because as Daniel have said, right, companies right now or FSIs right now are discovering that it's very hard to find talent. But sometimes we overlook that talent is in front of you. You just need to develop it further. So we have to remember that 75% of transformation often fail because organizational development has been overlooked. right? It really goes beyond cost. But also you have to consider the effectiveness play as well, which is one of the pillars of process excellence. So that's where, organizational development and skilling is very, very integral to what work we do in the transformation and automation space.
So I'm gonna turn to Daniel for that as well. You just mentioned process excellence. So Daniel, do you think the perceptions about the importance of this discipline has changed significantly in the last years?
Absolutely, and I think even in the last year, even more. We see the automation go from just let's automate, let's deploy RPA, let's find a few processes, to a whole different set of discussion. How do we improve our business? How do we make the processes we have better? And not just better now, ongoing improvement and optimization to these processes. And I'll give an example from client, right? We're partnering with many other vendors, but to provide this all, best of breed vendors. I'll give one of them, which is Software AG on the process mining side. And together with process discovery and process mining, we can really see the process from all levels, from the concept level of order to cash or to the very granular task that every employee is doing as part of it. And this could be, in a large company, probably hundreds or thousands of people. They're all built up into the same one level of process. And if we can see everything, we can understand everything, we can make it better. And that's where process excellence is going. Obviously, it's a big theme and a big transformational theme that's going within organizations.
Vitali, so back to you. How do you measure success of your automation endeavor? Can you already share some of the achievements at the organization, and how do you plan on expanding them further?
We assess the success of our company positively. And by the way, a very good question about further expansion. At a certain point, we faced the same question: how can we scale robots for the entire company? Possible options to hire several dozen developers or another company for development of robots, we immediately cut off. We started to develop robots not only by specialized IT departments such as RPA Center, but also by non-IT staff members, such called citizen developers. Since any person from any business department can develop a robot assistant for himself and use it in everyday work. Well, I must say that both of these ways give a good result. We see great potential for the development of robots, at least within our company. I believe that in the near future, robots from non-IT developers will catch up and overtake the so-called professional robots, both in terms of quantity and in terms of the effect they bring.
Thank you. So now last question, and I'm going to open it to all three of you. We'll start with Karen. If you were to give one piece of advice to our listeners here today in the BFSI space on how to get the most out of their digital transformation programs, what would it be?
I would start with how should you set yourself up for success, I believe. So the first one really that I see is senior leadership team needs to be aligned. They need to be truly committed that they want to move to the cloud and enable that change. Second one is an aggressive top-down goal. Why it needs to be top-down is because that would really initiate the momentum, right? And then the bottom up is your organizational structure, how you enable them and guide them through the change that you want to happen. The third one is it's really important that organizations train people in the cloud, whatever form of automation, digitalization, transformation, that organizational development is key. And the fourth but not the least is prioritizing your portfolio of projects, right? This is planning to move what is critical for the short term, the medium term, that has long-term value. So those are the key pieces of success factors that we see so far. I would give an advice to everyone.
Sounds like very good advice to me.
Thank you, Julie.
Vitali?
So Karen gave us very important advice. I'll probably say some common truths, but you should never stop and always try something new. As the American inventor Thomas Edison said, I've never known failures. I just found 10,000 ways that don't work. And at this moment, we can recall another of his statements that every failed attempt is another step forward. I advise everyone not to be afraid and to move only forward.
Absolutely. And last but not least, Daniel, your advice.
No, putting me last is hard because they said all the good things. But I'll take what Vitaly said and continue that. And actually, I'll quote Einstein, who said, if you do the same thing every day, don't expect it to be different tomorrow, right? So we cannot stay and continue doing the same things. We have to evolve, we have to improve, we have to change, because the market is changing, the technology is changing, people is changing, and most important for all of us, our customers, our consumers are changing. And we have to adapt to them, and we have to adapt to them very, very quickly. And we need to build a set of technologies, a set of processes and leadership that allows us to adapt to them as soon as possible, as quickly as possible. And I think any organization who will understand that will be successful and thrive.
Well, I'm really honored to have been here, not only with you, Karen, Vitaly, and Daniel, but also Thomas Edison and Albert Einstein. So with that, I thank you for joining the panel, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.